YouTube channel. It's me, Coco, and for today's video I am going to be showing you all the books that I read in January. So the first book I read in January was Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch, and it's a romance book, and as you can tell because it has the word love in it. But anyways, Love and Gelato is about this girl named Lena, and she's spending her summer in Italy because her mom died and her biological father lives in Italy, so she's staying with him for the summer. And so Lena, she's basically like, oh, I never met my biological father or never knew about him, so like why am I being sent here and like now getting to know about him? So she's like trying to solve that mystery and like trying to find out why her mom like separated with him and like why she's never ever like seen him before in his life. So yeah, that's what she's trying to figure out, and that's why she's basically there. Like she's only trying to figure out that. She's not really in the mood for like Italy and like the landscape, and people say Italy is also about love, so she's not really into that. So she's trying to find out what happened with her biological father. Yeah, that's what it's about, and I give this book a 3.5 out of 5 because basically like once a few of the characters were introduced, like I knew what was going to happen. Like I knew like what was going to happen, but I think like the only thing that kept me to the end was like trying to find out what happened between her with her biological father. So that's like the only thing that kept me to the end. Otherwise, like I knew like the ending and like I knew what was going to happen, so I probably wouldn't have stuck to the end. I probably would have just like shut the book and not even finished it because I knew what was gonna happen and I was right about what was gonna happen. So yeah. And like plus this book took me like a long time to start. Like I read this like the first 2 days of 2022, but before it, like I didn't pick it up for 2 weeks. Like it took me forever to pick it up because the beginning was so slow and like it wasn't getting to the parts, or it wasn't like interesting even in the beginning really. So it took me a long time to pick it up, and I kind of forced myself reading this book, so that's kind of the consequences of my rating. Like that's why I rated it so low, because like it just like took me forever, and usually that books that take me forever to pick up and finally read are probably a pretty low score. So yeah, I would like recommend this book if you're looking for like a simple romance read. It's those books where you know what's going to happen, and like the ending is very predictable. So that's the kind of book this is, and that's who I would recommend it for. Like just a simple, fun, everyday kind of romance book, that's the kind of book. So yeah, that's Love and Gelato for you. And the next book is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. And if you probably might have heard this book from the book communities on social media. It's kind of popular there. Like it's not as popular as other books, but like it's pretty popular and it's gained its fame from there mostly. But yeah, this is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, and basically it's about this girl, Liz Buxbaum, and she's had this annoying neighbor like that she's had her whole life. Like she's had this annoying neighbor Wes, and he's annoyed her whole life. They're like enemies, they're sworn enemies, they hate each other. But anyways, flash forward then senior year, where Liz Buxbaum, like she's in senior year, so she's about to go to prom, and she's like all in for like having a boyfriend for high school and experiencing high school love. And so her forever crush Michael, who moved away when she was young, came back, and she's like, oh, it's a sign, like me and Michael are meant for each other. He came back for me. So she uses Wes in order to get a date to prom with Michael, because Wes is Michael's friend. And so yeah, that's what I'll leave it, like that's how I'll leave it. But like this book was so interesting from the start. Like it was just so interesting, and I was like, oh, I want to know what happens next. Like it wasn't suspenseful, but like I was like, oh, I want to know what keeps happening, and I want to finish this story. Like it was so good, and like everything about this book was so like fun. It was so cute, and it was just like a very nice romance book. It wasn't like your typical romance book. Like comparing this to Love and Gelato, it was definitely like very different. And yeah, like it was so good, and just like the characters, they were so sweet. Like the thing about like this book, like there was no negative characters. Like every character was positive. None of them, there was no like mean bully. Like nobody was bad in it. And like it was just so good. And like the way Lynn Painter wrote it, like it was just so fun. And like also like she uses songs, like the characters always like, oh, like this song came in my mind after this moment, and like the songs were so cute, and I thought that was such a fun thing to add. Like it was such a cute little thing to add. And like like the relationships, everything was just amazing in this book, and such a great read. So definitely a 5 out of 5. I really liked this romance book. One of my favorite romance books, not my most favorite, but definitely one of my most favorite, one of them. But yeah, 5 out of 5. Love it so much. Definitely recommend. Okay, so the next book is another Lynn Painter book, and this one was actually from my friend, one of my friends. She gave it to me for Secret Santa, and I really like it, so thank you to my friend. She knows who she is. But yeah, this is a do-over by Lynn Painter, and this is one of her most latest releases. And basically it's about this girl named Emile, and she's had this horrible Valentine's Day, and everything that could possibly, like everything bad that could possibly happened to her on that day. And so she's basically like so mad. So she goes to her grandmother's house because she finds comfort there, and like you'll see why, like, you know, she goes there and why she finds comfort there. But yeah, she goes there, and then she's stuck in a nightmare loop, meaning that she is reliving the same day over and over again, the same Valentine's Day over and over again in her nightmares, and she can't seem to get out of it. And so she's just like trying to get out of it, and like just shows her how she's trying, you know, get out of it. And so like it was like that, and I'm gonna leave it at like that, because if I say any more, then I will probably kind of give away a little bit of the story. So yeah, she's trying to get out of there. And like usually like books like this can be kind of repetitive. Like you'd be like, oh, like she's going to, you know, keep on doing the same thing over and over and over again, because she's reliving that same day over and over again. But it wasn't that repetitive. Like when it got to like the good part, it wasn't that repetitive. But like when it was like in the beginning, it was a little repetitive, just a little bit. But like Lynn Painter did try to mix it up and like try to keep it quick pace and fast, so that way we could get to the good part. So like it wasn't that repetitive and stuff. And like the ending also kind of made up for the repetitiveness, because the ending was so good. So yeah, another good Lynn Painter book. Yeah, pretty good. This also deserves a little bit of hype. I don't think it's hyped enough because of the repetitive days. Plus it's a very different structure for a romance book, so I think it's not that, you know, popular as much as Better Than the Movies is. But I think it's pretty good, and I'm gonna give this a 4.7 because again, the repetitiveness kind of ruined it a little bit for me. But either way, it was such a good book. Like it was such a cute book. It was such a cute book, and I love it so much. And I will definitely say that Lynn Painter is a very good romance author. Like you don't really know what's going to happen. Like it's kind of maybe, like you do or you don't know, but it's so good. And yeah, such a good book. And guys, the cover is so cute, by the way. Like, can we just talk about that for a second? Such good, cute cover. But yeah, definitely recommend. So the next book is Light Lark by Alex Astor, and this is a fantasy book. And fantasy books are one of my most favorite genres. Like when I find a good fantasy book, I will rave about it. My most favorite books are fantasy books. I love fantasy books. Like I've not read that many fantasy books, and I want to read more fantasy books, but like I just haven't. Like the past year, I didn't read a whole lot of fantasy books. Like did not read one fantasy book, and that was kind of sad. But like last year I was more into romance and mystery, but now I want to go back into fantasy. Plus I found so many good recommendations that I want to read. So yeah, you guys will be seeing a whole lot of fantasy. But yeah, this is Light Lark, and it's by Alex Astor. And if you have heard about Alex Astor, you probably saw her from the book community. She's pretty active and pretty popular on there. She's like a very good author for book community on social media. But yeah, I found her on social media and stuff, and this book has kind of a good story. Like she got rejected many times for this book, and now then she uploaded some video and it got viral, and then she published it because people were requesting for it to get published. So yeah, little background story about this book. But yeah, Lightlark by Alex Astor. And so it's basically about this island, Lightlark, and it appears every 100 years to host a game for 100 days. And so basically there are 6 rulers from 6 realms, and they fight to break curses and win power. So whoever wins all the power like in the world. And so it's Flughand, which is, she is a ruler of 6 realms, is competing in that game, and she competes in the game and kind of just talks about her whole timeline during the game, and how like she's kind of scared because in this world, like when you play that game, you have to lie, cheat, and betray in order to win that power and stuff. So she's like always suspicious and scared on like, oh, are they gonna kill me? Are they not gonna kill me? Like she's always suspicious of everybody and stuff, and it's really fun and great. And I think like it was pretty suspenseful, like it kept me going, and I wanted to know what happened in the end. And the plot twist at the end, like I did not see that coming. Like I don't know if anybody else saw this coming, but like I definitely did not see it coming. Like it was such, I did not see that it was coming. I did not know it was gonna come. But yeah, and also the ending leaves you on a cliffhanger, so I am waiting desperately for the second book. Yeah, it leaves you on a cliffhanger, and you're just like, what? Like you don't know what, like you're just what? The ending is what the heck? What is next? What is gonna happen? So yeah, but yeah, definitely give this book a 5 out of 5. I really liked it. I thought the fantasy world was also unique, like I've never seen it elsewhere. But definitely read Lightlark. So yeah, good book. Okay, so this next book is Kisses and Croissants by Anne-Sophie, I'm gonna say J because I cannot pronounce her last name, but it's based in Paris, as you can tell, because croissants. And it's based in Paris, and it's about this girl named Mia, and she is a talented and very dedicated ballet dancer. She's done ballet her whole life, and her dream is to become a professional ballerina. And so she goes to France for the summer program, and she got into this very good ballet school in Paris. And so she's like, I'm going to dedicate my entire summer to ballet, and I'm going to explore the interior Paris. And her dream is to go to ABT, which is another very famous ballet school in New York. And she if she does good here in the Paris school, then her chances of getting into ABT are higher. So she's like, yeah, I'm gonna dedicate myself to ballet for sure. And so then she meets Louis, which she's desperate to become friends with him and stuff. And she's like, she really likes him, but she's like, oh, I'm supposed to dedicate my entire summer to ballet and not love because it's gonna distract me. But that's the choice. Like, she has to make a choice. What does she want to do? And there's a reason why Paris is called the City of Love. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it there because I know I'm gonna spoil a lot. But yeah, this book is definitely 5 out of 5. I first thought, like, when I was reading this book, I was like, oh, like, is this gonna be like Love and Gelato? Like, I felt like the ending was predictable, and I guess it kind of was, but then, like, there was a little plot twist at the end, and I was just like, why did that happen? Like, that did not need to happen. It was not necessary for them. That plot twist was not necessary. Like, I would have been fine with this being a normal romance book, but then, like, I feel like the plot twist kind of has a lesson in it and stuff, so it was pretty good. That plot twist, I guess it was meant to be. But yeah, so good. Definitely not like Love and Gelato, and I think it's such a fun little read. Like, it's a fun read, but it's not Love and Gelato. You know what I mean? And it's definitely like, you don't know what's gonna really happen. But yeah, that's Love and Gelato. And also, like, I love the character. Like, I loved how dedicated, like, she loves ballet, like, and I love when somebody like talks about their dedication, like when the character is very fun to learn about what they're dedicated to, because they even taught us a little bit about ballet. And you also got to see a lot of places in Paris. Like, you got to learn about places to visit in Paris, which was very nice. And also Louis is such a great person. Like, it was so great. So yeah, definitely 5 out of 5. I know I gave a lot of the books 5 out of 5, but they were pretty good reads. So yeah, definitely really, really good. And yeah, recommend. Okay, so that's all the books I've read in January. I definitely want to read a few more books in February and stuff, but I just, you know, read 5 books, which I think is a pretty good goal for 1 month. But yeah, next month I'm thinking of reading more fantasy books because I really, really want to go back into my fantasy, and I have so many good recommendations I want to read. Also, I'm kind of sick of reading romance books, so yeah, you guys are probably gonna see a whole lot of fantasy in the next one. Yeah, it's gonna be like Fantasy February. I'm super excited. I'm going to talk about my TBR for also next month. I'm thinking of reading the Hunger Games series because I feel like that is such a classic and great series. Plus, I'm in middle school, so I think it will be a very good time to read it. And then I also want to read the Cruel Prince series, which is a very, very popular book talk series. Like, if you have heard of Cruel Prince, then you have probably heard it from the book community because it's super duper popular on there. And yeah, I think those. They're both trilogies, and I have this other book that I'm currently reading, which I'm going to read. And yeah, so those are like 7 books, and I have maybe one more which I'll do, but yeah, that's kind of my TBR for next month. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys got some book recommendations out of this video, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Bye.